Hello and welcome back. What I'd like to do is to remind you about habit number 8. And habit number 8 is called the definition of insanity. Now, what that means to me is if you keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, but you keep getting the same results, and they're not the results or the reality that you want. So literally all the previous habits and the other two, which I'll mention in probably the next week or so, they all kind of connect to habit number 8, because in our lives, because of what we call memes, these are things that we create as a child that we kind of, if you like, we mimic things. We might mimic our parents, our peers, our teachers. And what I found is that these memes that we create, you could liken it to a virus, because once you've got it, you keep doing the same thing over again, and then what you do is you then will act it onto other people, and then they will start doing it. A beautiful example of this would be when I was in Oxford. I surrounded myself with athletes, so as a result of that is I got into training in a big way, and then I also started training a martial art called Samurai Jiu-Jitsu, and that was because of the people I surrounded myself with. I was in halls of residence in my first year, and literally every single evening I was there training. So habit number 8 is really to look at 3 main things. Why we do what we do is down to our ego, a little chattery monkey on the head, our addictions, smoking, alcohol, drugs, sugar, and our habits, those things again that we were probably taught as a child by our parents. And if you know that there's certain habits, ego or addictions that you have that do not serve you or those around you, then interrupt your pattern. Now, if you're doing something, an example would be, say, smoking. For somebody who smokes, let's say they change the meaning of smoking to be dirty and painful, therefore they quit. That leaves a huge void in their life, because a lot of people that smoke, well, one of the things is they believe it relaxes them, and of course the only thing that relaxes them is the deep breathing. Apart from that, it stresses the hell out of the body. But if they replace it with something else, and an example would be, you want a cigarette, shove a bottle of water in your mouth. You want a cigarette, bottle of water. So that's like replacing it. More often than not, what happens is somebody who quits smoking as an addiction, they will then replace it with gorging on dysfunctional or denatured or dead foods. You know, your chocolates, your sugars, your cereals, your pastas and stuff like that. Anything, again, that has a shelf life. So, but those are just some examples. Another example I'll relate to myself is it's a simple one, actually. I might as well point it out to you. What I found is this simple tap or faucet here filters water. And what I do is I get my glass, not plastic glass, I put a pinch of Himalayan salt in this, and then I put it on there, under here like this, and then I'll fill it up like this. And then what I'll do is I'll go away and go and do something, and I'll come back and I've flooded the place. So from this simple thing that I did was then I got it, and now I position it like that, and I get this little plastic thing underneath there, and I can leave it, so if it does overflow, at least I'm not going to flood the house. But how many times do you think it happened until I realised that simple thing for me to do? Because remember, it takes no more energy or effort to create what you want in your life than to create what you do not want. Now some of you may say, but Magnus, it's difficult because, and then what happens is you come up with a lot of excuses. That means you're not ready. I realise that once you've got it into your engrams, your long-term memory, or into your memes, your virus, and you're always acting it out, but when you want to, and the meaning is pleasure and pain to not changing, then trust me, I'm not a doctor, you will change. So habit number 8 for me then is all about finding what it is in my life that I'm always doing which doesn't get me the results or the outcomes or the reality that I want. Another example might be driving my car and I keep getting a ticket. Now I don't, but that's just an example. What is it about me that I have to do more than what the speed limit is and go through a speed camera? You yourself, no doubt, will have things in your life that you do repeatedly that doesn't serve you. It might be certain statements you make, it might be mannerisms that you have, and then what happens is then it's passed on to other people. So if we are all wanting to become the change you want to see in the world, as Gandhi said, then really what I find is there are a lot of unconscious people out there. What do I mean? Well, if I was a conscious parent and I was going for a cycle ride, I would ensure that if I stuck a helmet on my child, I too would wear a helmet. Otherwise there's mixed messages going on. If I was a smoker, but I would never want my child to smoke, then again, mixed messages going on there. And then another classic example that I share with my clients would be, you know, you get children who may fight, and obviously you chastise or berate them and tell them off, shout at them, whatever. But you say to yourself, well, where did they learn that? And obviously they learned that at home, because you probably fight with your spouse or your partner or your husband or your wife or whoever. So always start with self. Yeah. So where is it, or what are you doing? What habits, what addictions, what ego connections have you made? Ego is, again, that's that false sense of self, who you are, that does not serve you and does not serve those around you. And when you realise what those are, interrupt your pattern and change it, and that will occur exactly on time. How do we know? Because it occurred. Again, fighting reality causes you and me stress. So habit number 8, the definition of insanity: doing the same thing over and over and over again but expecting a different result. Stupid. So find what it is within you that does or does not serve you, and practice. And again, if the research is right, you might have to do that 28 times in a row, say for 28 days, 3 or 4 weeks, and then it should become a little easier. Remember, it's kind of easier when you realise that it's by holding back that causes that suffering, so don't hold back. Thank you very much for listening. I wish you love and peace, and have yourself a wonderful day. Bye for now.